We are up and we are live and we're recording. I've got Dave Pogson on the Why Men Matters podcast. All right, so Dave, I'll do a little rundown, and then if there's anything you want to fill in the gaps, we'll throw it in there and we'll start telling your story. So,
All right, sounds good.
yeah, Dave Pogson, former welder and tradesman, ex drug dealer and hustler, ex pro MMA fighter with a record of 3-7. Uh, Not exactly the greatest record of all time, but you took a stab at it. Oh, former house flipper and used to own a fencing company, if I'm not mistaken.
For a short period of time, yeah.
Yeah, and then transitioning into being a full-time jiu-jitsu coach, a part owner of Alavanca in southern Calgary, and the most important job you've ever had is being a father.
That is right.
And did I miss anything? I feel like I missed a bunch.
Not really. I mean, sure, but
But
I think you hit most of the most important ones.
yeah, being a bartender is being a bartender, so whatever.
Yeah. Well, I was a terrible bartender. I only did that once for a little bit. I bartended at Applebee's for probably like a year, and I was the worst bartender ever. But I don't really drink, and so I didn't know what half the things were. Right? I could
Yeah,
pour a beer, and I was about it.
you threw it together, and you're like, please just ask for a glass of water. I'm good at that.
Exactly.
Well, like, let's start with something really simple. Where did you grow up? Where are you from officially?
Well, I was born and raised in Calgary. I grew up my first 5 years of life. I grew up in Pembroke Meadows, so southeast, like the hood, and
Yeah.
then we moved a little over to Beddington, which was a little bit less hood, but it was still kind of rough growing up there. So I grew up in Beddington, on the northeast side there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've just been here my whole life. I lived in probably a 3 kilometer radius from the time I was 5 until 2 years ago. So
Wow. Yeah, because you
yeah,
moved into the south of Calgary now. You're closer to the gym.
yeah. I
Yeah.
moved. I live in Silverado right now, so like it's all pretty much as far south as you can go.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah,
Do you like it down there more than being up north?
yeah. There's a different feel down here. It is nicer. Yeah, and I don't know how to explain it, but it feels better down here.
There's something about yeah, I don't know what it is, but Calgary, the different regions have always had a different feel to it. Like, the Northeast is going to be rough around the edges and probably a little bit dirty, and then you get into like the Northwest, and it's a little nicer, and yeah, but then you get into the Southwest, and now you're starting to get into the ritzy, the nice
Yeah.
area, but then the weather is weird. So it's yeah.
Well, I find actually the weather hits the north. Everything bad happens in the Northeast. Like like they get hammered by all the worst hailstorms and
Yeah.
like the Northeast for whatever reason they get beat up.
It's like a giant trailer park.
It really is.
And then,
Yeah.
so you grew up pretty much in the same area. You went to high school. What was it like growing up in that area?
Um, it was kind of rough sometimes, but I mean maybe that was just the people I was hanging out with. There's a lot of crime and people getting beat up and jumped and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Um, High school, well, junior high for me was pretty rough. It was an all Italian school, and I was not Italian, and they didn't treat me too good. They actually used to like come and like egg my house in the middle of the
Oh,
night.
wow.
I got chased home from school like daily. They came one night they showed up at my house with baseball bats to smash my parents' car. My dad like caught them. And the guy hit my dad in the hand with a baseball bat, and then they took off. But
What? That's
yeah,
crazy.
man. The funny thing is the same guy that did that. I ran into him years later. And he ended up apologizing to me for it and all that. But
No way.
now I keep running into him because he's part of the boxing commission. Yeah.
Small freaking world. Hey, those
Hmm.
Italians like to fight anyway, so
Yeah, it was funny actually. We showed up at the event like 2 weeks ago, and I didn't have a pass on me, and I'm like trying to get in the room, and he goes and he yells at the guys, "No, he's good. Let him in." So it's funny how things come full circle.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, let him in. I hit that guy's dad's hand with a baseball bat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was
And then
interesting
so
time. Oh, and then yeah, so from there, then I got into some trouble and stuff. Got kicked out of school. I ended up switching. So that was I was in the Catholic school system then, and
okay,
then I got transferred over to the public school system. So then I went to James Fowler, where it was a very, very multicultural school,
yeah.
and I was not of the majority in there, so that was a bit of a scary time too. So you just stayed close with your buddies, and you tried to act as tough as you could, so people would stay away from you. And trouble found me and my friends a lot, but we survived and well, kept trucking forward, man.
The way you
And
talk about it, it's kind of like how people live in jail.
well, dude, I got a giant scar on my arm from getting sliced, and you
What?
know there's yeah, man,
That's
yeah,
messed up.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like I was saying before, like you don't realize how interesting somebody's life is until you start asking these kind of wild questions. And I I I don't recall in my childhood, I do not recall ever having to worry about getting attacked with a knife.
No, oh man, I remember when I was 5, I got in a fight with my neighbor. Actually, I wasn't even 5; I was 3. I got in a fight with my older neighbor next door, and I still to this day have teeth mark in my hand from him biting me.
What?
Yeah, yeah, and I remember fighting some kid with a 2x4 outside my house. Like it was
What
interesting.
the hell?
Uh,
Holy. One of the other guys that I talked to recently, he's from Brazil. Um,
okay,
he's
oh, I'm
got
sure it's even crazier for them.
he's got bullet and knife wounds on his torso.
I don't doubt that. I
It's like,
heard that in Brazil they have an app that lets you know where all the shootings are that day, so
hey,
you
there's
can
an
like
app for
avoid
everything now.
so you can avoid the areas and stuff.
Jeez. Or
Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not, but I mean I'm around Brazilian people every once in a while here, so
yeah.
that's what they've told me. So
Or does it work the other way that if you notice this one area that you've got to go to, but there's a whole bunch of spots where there's been a shooting, maybe they ran out of bullets, so I can go there now.
ah, that yeah, that might be the way to go.
Maybe.
That's a safe area. It's already been cleared out.
Yeah, yeah. They're all done now. So
Yeah, we're safe.
yeah. So then high school, wild time
Oh,
growing
man.
up, a little bit of Wild West. What was high school like?
Oh, dude, that was wild. I barely went to class. That I was that's when the first time I started selling pot was in high school. I'd I was terrible at rolling joints, so I got my buddy. I'd buy a whole baggie and I get my buddy to roll them all into joints, and then at lunchtime at school I'd go around and sell individual joints for like $5 a piece. So I'd make like 200-300 bucks at lunchtime. Like every day. And this was back in the '90s, so it was decent. It was
That's
decent
not
money.
bad. That's not bad.
But I forgot how we got into that.
Yeah, just like just high school because junior
Oh,
high was
well,
the
high school was
roughing.
that? Yeah. So high school. Well, high school was actually there was another change. So another reason I used to get why junior high was so rough was because I had the biggest ears you'd ever imagine. So, and I got teased so bad. I remember one time oh yeah. So I remember in grade 5 or 6, I was taking the bus home, and a kid that was on my own hockey team was like pulling on my ear while we're on the bus, and I just turned around and just drilled him in the face. Cause like broke his nose and stuff, and his mom hated me for about 6 or 7 years after that until we were on the same hockey team again, and his mom talked to my mom, and and she didn't realize that he had been tugging on my ears. So once she found that out, she like wasn't pissed off at me anymore for beating up her son. But yeah, yeah, so in between grade 9 and 10, I actually got my ears pinned back. So I
Okay.
spent the whole summer with wearing basically wearing like a big bandage around my head.
Yeah.
Uh, it kind of sucked, man. I remember when it was supposed to come off, so they took it off, and the doctor's like, "No, I think we need another couple weeks." And I
Uh,
was freaking out when they're like trying to wrap it back. I wanted that thing off so bad, but finally they got it off. My ears healed, and then so my ears were pinned back, and I looked, you know, I just felt more confident.
yeah.
So going into high school, I immediately had a little bit more confidence. Um, I had a couple buddies already that I knew at the school, so I wasn't too nervous about starting high school. I actually was kind of excited about it. I felt like it was going to be like a fresh start for me, which
Yeah.
it was. So I went in there, made a bunch of new friends, then started getting in trouble and stuff. Uh, Missing a lot of school, but I'd always be at school. I'd skip school, but I'd stay at the school to hang out with people at school. It was stupid. But I mean, it was all right when I was back when I was like selling stuff because then I was making money too. But yeah, so I'd be doing that, and then I'd still be playing hockey. I played pretty competitive hockey. I was playing like double A and triple A hockey.
Yeah.
So I was still trying to do that while being a hoodlum as well. So that
A hustler.
I was a busy man in high school. I didn't sleep much. I
Yeah.
did not sleep much. But I still managed to squeak by. I remember, I think it was in grade 11. There was a small period of time where I decided I was going to try in school, and we're talking like three months. So I just started showing up to every class, and all of a sudden, boom, my mark went like through the roof. And it was the point where the teacher actually called my mom. And keep in mind, I'm in grade 11. The teacher called my mom to tell her how good I was doing, that I was actually coming to class. And like my mom was so happy, and then I started skipping again right after that. But
Yeah. I
but
I reached my
yeah,
peak. I'm good. I'm good.
yeah, it was good. Well, honestly, like I've never used anything I've ever learned in high school in real life.
Yeah.
So my
Funny.
journey, you know,
Yeah. Funny how a lot of the things that we go to school for ends up becoming useless, and we only use about 10 to 20% of what we actually go to school for.
yeah, I use like the basic math,
Yeah.
reading and writing. You know, that's about it. They didn't teach me anything I needed to know. You know, they should have taught me how to run a business or do my taxes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. We're seeing a change in the education system for that reason because the education system is broken. So,
oh, big time, big time, big
um,
time.
I just saw on I just saw on Twitter or on X that Trump is actually looking at closing the Department of Education and like terminating its entire department because ever since its inception in 1979, the Department of Education has declined over the years the education system to a point where the American students are scoring lower than they ever have prior to 1979. Because
Yeah,
1979, they were classified as some of the most educated, smartest kids in the world. And then when the
yeah,
Department of Education came into play, it dropped. So our education system is definitely dated.
yeah. Well, it's a little bit of an indoctrination camp too, but we don't need to get
Yeah,
into that.
yeah, that's a bigger conversation, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, that I made it through high school barely. And then I got a girl pregnant when I was 19. So that kind of changed things a little bit.
Yeah, that will.
Yeah, so yeah, I ended up going and starting an apprenticeship as a welder.
Yeah.
Um,
So that was right out of high school, pretty much.
I actually so in my first time in grade 12, I got kicked out So, like pretty early I got in a fight with some kid in auto body class because he stole my air hose. But I mean, it had to be done. But so I got kicked out. So for that year, I went and I welded. My dad got me a job as a welder for that year, and then at the end of the year, they actually let me go back to high school as an overage student.
Okay.
So I went back to do that, and how old was I? Yeah, I was 18 still, going back in grade 12 for the second time. Um, I did really well in all of my courses, but I still didn't go to class enough.
Yeah.
So I was doing English 30, and I was passing all the work, but I go and get my report card, and they failed me because at the time you had to go to a minimum amount of classes.
Ah,
And I didn't. So I ended up having to go back. I ended up getting my high school diploma like when I was 23. I'd already had like I was a journeyman welder already at the time and
yeah.
stuff. So I did go back and get it eventually. But yeah. So yeah, out of high school, had the baby early. Started welding. I was still, kind of getting in trouble a little bit. I was kind of living a bit of a double life, I guess. Um, I was working 6 a.m. till 2:30 p.m. most days, and then go home and sleep and whatnot, and do the family thing, and then in the middle of the night, I'd go out and do things with my buddies that probably shouldn't have been doing, and did that for a few years, and then that actually caught up with us at one point in time, and that was kind of the end of that. Of that, and then that's when we kind of started transitioning, and like I was trying to clean myself or like straighten myself out a little bit then.
Yeah.
Uh, and then so when my son was 5, him and myself and his mom split up. So got my own place, and then I was still welding at the time, and I had a couple of roommates. As you were actually one of my roommates.
Yes, I was.
One of my favorites, actually.
Yeah, I paid my bills
But
on
yeah,
time.
you did, and you did your dishes
Yeah, yeah.
and all your damn Tupperware.
My meal prepping.
Yeah, but anyways, so I moved into this house, had a roommate. I was still welding, and I was kind of doing the weekend dad thing at that time for a
Yeah.
bit, just because it was tough with like working a full time job, being able to do it at 19 years old too. I was still a kid, so I was just a weekend dad for probably about 8 months, and then I had a buddy of mine come up to me, and he says to me, "Hey, I'm gonna be fighting in King of the Cage. You should come check it out." I'm like, "Oh, cool." I'm like, I didn't even know you fought or anything like that. And this was back in 2006. So
Okay.
like
Yeah.
this was still pretty underground, right? Like the UFCs were like 3 times a year or something.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
so it was nobody really knew anything, right? I didn't even know that there was a MMA gym. Like I didn't know that was something that existed. So, anyways, so buddies, training for this fight, and like I used to training. Um, he invites me out. He's like, "Hey man, you should come to one of my practices." I'm like, "Oh, cool, all right." Because I'd done a tiny bit of boxing and a tiny bit of I did wrestle in junior high school, so I liked this. I was interested in it, right? So
Yeah.
they tell me to meet them at the Good Life on Canyon Meadows in McLeod.
Yeah.
So I go in there, and they're in the back room. There's about 6 or 7 guys on like on the little blue fold out mats,
Yes.
like wrestling around and
Yeah.
all doing all this stuff. And I'm like watching. I'm like, these guys don't look that tough. And then so my buddy's like, "Well, do you want to try?" I'm like, "Sure." So I get in there, and like pretty much everybody but 2 guys, I could just like completely dominate. And like I knew nothing. Like I knew nothing, right? So but I didn't know. I thought I was like, oh, cool. Maybe I'm just naturally good at this. So I went to like they'd have these practices like maybe once every 2 weeks. So I'd show up every 2 weeks and do it. And then Buddy had ends up having his fight. It wasn't in King of the Cage. It was actually out in Vancouver on like AMA, I think it was called.
Okay.
Um, he goes out there and he just gets tuned, just like beat up, dropped on his head, like it was bad. He had another fight already signed. Um, it was supposed to be a month later, and he was supposed to fight this guy named Ryan McGilvery in on the MFC in Edmonton. So, after Buddy's fight, he decides to pull out. So his so my buddy's manager, or the guy, he's not really a man. He wasn't really the manager, but he was the guy like kind of like leading everybody. Comes to me, he's like, "Well, hey man, you were a little bit better than him, anyways. Do you want to do it?" And I'm like, "Oh, all right." And he ends up talking me into it. So I do this fight, and I did all right. Like I don't really remember it. I guess I kind of blacked out. It was a pretty big deal, man. There was like I think there was about 3,000 people. It was in the Shaw Conference Center,
Oh, wow.
and yeah, it was in a boxing ring. It wasn't in it was not a cage. It was in a boxing ring, and
Yeah.
I just remember the lights being so hot. It was just like hot, and like I get in there and everybody just disappears. There's no sound, nothing. And I remember little tidbits of the fight, but apparently like we touched gloves, and then I just planted my feet. I swung and I hit him, and he dropped, and I just stood there and didn't do anything. And then so the ref stood him up, and I guess that happened like I guess I hit him like 3 or 4 times and just like laid him out every time and just stood there. One time I guess I walked away from him, and he tried to like jump on my back, and I managed to duck out, and then eventually he did get on my back and got me with a rear naked choke. But oddly enough, even though it didn't go well, I was hooked. I was
Ah,
hooked. So then, anyways, I do another fight against a guy named Marcus Vinicius, who his previous fight had just been a title fight. Actually, let's back up to Ryan McGilvery. Just so he was the guy that ended up going to the UFC. So like he became like a superstar in Edmonton. So he ended up going to the UFC after.
yeah.
And then this Marcus Vinicius guy, he was had just fought for a title, and he was like a big up and comer, and that was a bit of a scary fight. It was in Vancouver, and I didn't cut weight back then, so I weighed 185 pounds then, and I didn't know about weight cutting.
Yeah.
And I see my opponent. He comes up to me, and dude, man, he must have been like 250 and 220. Like he was a monster. And he's this capoeira guy, and he's just like whipping these kicks at my head. But I was managed to duck them a bunch, and then I actually almost secured a takedown on him, but he kind of like caught onto the ropes, and then he fell right into full mount and took me out with an armbar. And then I fought, I think 3 months later, again, and I go. It's in Lethbridge on the Rumble in the Cage.
Yeah.
And I'm fighting this guy named Dan Torture Chambers, and like I'm like, okay, that's a cool nickname, whatever. And then we get to Lethbridge, and like it's quite the fight town, right? And people we're like walking around the mall, and people are like, oh, why are you here? And we're like, oh, we're fighting this, and like, oh, who are you fighting? I'm like, oh, I'm fighting this Dan Chambers guy, and they're like, oh, I feel sorry for you, man, and like I was like getting all this feedback, right? Like that's like I'm like, well, who am I fighting here? So and comes fight time. So the way Rumble in the Cage worked is they do all the amateurs, and then they do one pro fight. Then
Okay.
it would be then it'd be intermission, and then they do all the rest of the pro fights. Well, I'm the pro fight at the end of the amateurs. Little did I know, and I found this out on the way down to the cage, that I'm the co-main event. So, so, I'm like, I look at my buddy. I'm like, he's like, he just gives me one of these. He's like, yeah. So turns out this dude was on like a 7-fight win streak. Every fight he won by knockout. I'm like, what the hell am I into? So, anyways, my buddy, I had a whole bunch of buddies drive out there, and I'm like, fuck it. I'm like, we're gonna do this. So I get in there, touch gloves, we circle around, and I throw the ugliest kick you could ever imagine. And when my leg comes down, my knee buckles and complete tear of my ACL. Okay. I stumble back, and Buddy and Dan, he takes advantage of that as he should have. Um, Smushes me up against the cage. So I immediately like bear hug him because he threw a knee and he actually hit me in the forehead, and I had an aneurysm, like a big like lump on my forehead for probably 2 years after that fight, and had its own pulse and stuff. It went away after about 2 years, but so yeah, he hits me with that, but I got a pretty hard head, so it didn't knock me out, and I managed to grab a hold of him, and I just said to myself, man, my buddies all just came, drove all this way. I can't quit now. So I managed to like uh, get off the cage, turn around, sucked his legs out, and got on top, and just did the absolute like bare minimum I could do to keep hitting him, but so the ref wouldn't stand us up. So. And like, dude, my knee was like, it ended up being a 100% complete tear. I had to get it repaired and stuff. But
Yeah, because I remember
at about
you doing the Nintendo was it the Nintendo board for your ACL
the,
recoup?
I used the Nintendo Wii, yeah,
Yeah, because you didn't like
the
go to
Wii Fit board,
physio.
the Wii Fit board,
Yeah,
yeah, it works, man.
it did better than physio.
Yeah, exactly. But so yeah, so I remember about about 4 minutes and 30 seconds left in the round. The ref ends up standing us up, and I had to actually use the cage to pull myself up, and I like look at my corner. I'm like, dude, my knee's fucked. And he just points. He's like, turn around. So I turn around, and then Dan comes at me again. He comes to throw a couple big bombs. I managed to duck under it, slammed him again, and then he reversed it, and then started like he reversed it with like 3 seconds left in the round, and then started like elbowing me, and then the round ended. So we threw in the towel off that, but obviously I wasn't going to go in for the second round on that. So,
Yeah,
anyways, I go back after that. I go back to Calgary. This is where the drug dealing comes back into play here soon. So, and all the roommates. So I go back to Calgary and I go to work the next day, and I tell them like, listen, guys, I blew my knee outside of like on the weekend. I slipped on some ice and blew my knee.
yeah,
And they're like, oh, okay, well, you're gonna have to go on a work leave then. So I got a full pay work leave for 3 months.
nice.
So in that 3 months, I I started I started getting a taste of like what it was like not to have to go to work every day.
Yeah,
Like I was able to go to the gym every day.
living the
I was
dream.
like liking the lifestyle. So then I started renting out all my rooms in my house, as you know, because
Yeah,
you rented one out.
yeah.
How many times did you live with me? Once or twice? Yeah, I think twice.
It was the one time.
It was just the one time, but
Yeah,
it was for quite a
it
while
was a
though.
good stretch. Yeah, I just can't remember how
Yeah.
long, but it was a good stretch.
Yeah, man. I think at one point in time, what do we have? Me, you, Ryan, Terry. I
I
think
think,
that was it. And
I think
then,
that was it.
yeah,
Yeah,
4 or 5. Yeah, I remember one time we rented your room out to like after you left. These two girls rented it out for an entire summer, and like that was not a big room. They shared
oh
that room for
no,
the whole
for two
summer.
girls, that's tiny.
Yeah, but yeah. So, anyways, I got a taste. So I'm like, I don't want to go back to work. So I started like like organizing my life a little bit. so I didn't have to. And like I got a bunch of roommates, and then I'd get like I got like a part-time job, like that for a little bit. I did the bartending, like you said,
Yeah.
and then that led me to like then I actually did some bouncing as well on the weekends. But keep in mind, I was still for a while I was still getting the money from from the work, right?
Yeah.
Because I was on leave. So so then I ended up getting a job bouncing. Like he was sitting on, or well, with Dana at the flight deck there.
Yes. I remember the flight deck.
Uh, yeah, so just doing things like that to make a little extra money, and then I was able, like, between the roommates and the couple part-time jobs, even when the money ran, like when I went back to work, they ended up laying me off. They laid everybody off. Like literally the day I showed up, went back to work, they laid me and a whole bunch of other people off. So I was just like, all right, I'm just not going to go back to work again.
Yeah.
Um, so between the roommates and the little side jobs, I was able to kind of like, keep the roof over the head, feed us and whatnot, but then obviously working at the bars and stuff, you start meeting more people. Then next thing you know, you're selling pot, right? Or well, that's what I chose to do, and it worked out well. I mean, it allowed me to have the lifestyle I wanted, where I could train, spend, then I started, like, when that happened, I was able to take my son on first 50-50, and then when he was 12, he ended up just deciding he wanted to live with me full time, so he lived with me from 12 on full time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was able to get by, and then like I started getting a few customers here and there for pot, and that started growing up more and more and more, to the point where I was able to pay all my bills and uh, and train, like the like go to the gym all the time, and spend time with my kid, and it was all right, man. I mean, it sucked to kind of having to, like, always look over your shoulder and whatnot, but
So
it worked out.
let's go back a bit, because so me being a tradesman, and I've had other guys on who are also tradesmen. So you said your dad got you into like a welding shop, and then
Yeah.
that's where you started like doing your ticket and all that.
hmm
So and you finished your ticket right around the time that you got your high school diploma,
I got my ticket before my high school diploma.
which is then
Short, not. I was a journeyman welder at, what was I? I was 21. I was a journeyman welder by 21, and then I think I got my high school diploma about 23.
so yeah, typically that's unusual because they don't let you go to school without your high school diploma. So it's, I guess,
Well,
trades is different.
welding only needed a grade 9.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if it's like that anymore. I don't think it's like that anymore, but
I don't think it is either, but most guys entering the trades, I believe you have to have your high school diploma, or at least like math. What is it, math 13 or so, like just a basic math to get, like, that's grade
yeah,
10 math.
yeah,
So you see your dad got you the job at the shop, you ended up getting your trade, you ended up getting your ticket.
yeah.
But I think, from the story I remember you saying before, is that once you had the chance to like decide whether you're going to stay or go, you fucking hated welding. If I'm
Big
not
time.
mistaken, you fucking hated
Oh,
it.
dude, it was funny because it's a fun, cool skill to have, but to do it as a job was awful. Like, or at least for me, it was, man. I hated every second of it, man. Like, it was, and the people. It seemed like all the people I was working with hated it too, right? Like,
Miserable.
everyone was miserable, alcoholics, or like, there's a lot of alcoholics, just a lot of miserable people, and then oddly enough, there's also a lot of religious people,
Huh.
and I feel like they were the older guys,
Okay.
and it's almost like they went through some shit, and and then was saved after
And
kind of
then
thing.
they became lifers of the industry after that point, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh yeah,
yeah,
definitely lifers. So, and I just looked at those people, all of those people, and I just like every day I'm like, this is not for me. And I was always trying to find some sort of way out.
yeah,
Like, and
yeah,
but the thing is, I would never pull the trigger on anything, right? And a lot of the things were stupid. Like, I'd have a stupid idea for some sort of like thing that would be like a cool invention on something, right? And I'd take it to my dad. He's like, "Yeah, it's cool, but you'd have to do this, 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 and this, and this, and this, and this to get that passed and all this stuff." And then I'd just be like, "Oh, okay, I don't want to do that."
yeah, yeah.
So then on to the next thing, and on to the next thing. And dude, I did that like right up until the first time I like really pulled the trigger on something was 2 years or well 3 years ago. So
So trades, because yeah, like there's a lot of young guys. There's a lot of young men, and a lot of the young men that you probably coach, and they're trying to figure out what to do with their life. And
mhm.
there's not a lot of glory talk about being in the trades, because don't get me wrong, we all know that it's there's challenging
Yeah,
days. You've got crappy people you have to deal with. Depending on the trade you decide to go into, could alter the course of your life. And like there's a lot of factors to take into consideration, but the amount of money that you can make in the trades is pretty darn good, and the skills that you learn are lifetime. And then also, if you decide to stick in the trades, the businesses that you can create and all the people that you can influence and teach is obviously there's a value there. But the other side of it is the trades are not for everybody, because there
no,
there's a dire need right now. I think in the United States it's something like 500,000 tradesmen are going to be leaving in the next 5 years, and they have no one to fill that gap. And now they're having an immigration problem, which is a totally separate story. But if they don't have the volume of people to fill those gaps, that means that the demand compared to the supply is going to be dramatically different, which means the prices go
mhm.
up for everybody who's in the
Yeah,
trades, and
yeah,
opportunity will be there, but it's not for everybody. Because
no.
yeah, we've you found out that for yourself, like being a young man, and you're like, these guys are fucking cranky all day. No,
Yeah, yeah. I did actually venture out for a while, actually, right before decided to open up the gym here. So with the house there, I started renovating it
yeah,
like 20 years ago, man. I just do like a job here, a little thing there, and then it ended up, I ended up gutting in the house and completely redoing it. But that's a whole other fun. Well, we can get into that.
yeah,
But I learned how to renovate houses on my own house, and then I started doing side jobs for other people.
yeah,
So so for like from 2020 till 2023, I was doing like home renovations for people, like building bathrooms and basements and all sorts of stuff, decks.
decks, fences.
Yeah, yeah, and then I also I got a job. I decided, like, when I started wanting to um, to do the gym thing. Well, actually, let's circle back. Doing the trades, doing the house renovations. After about 2 years of that, I just one day said to myself, I'm like, man, I can't do this anymore. I can't go and just like renovate other people's houses every day, all day for the rest of my life, right? So I just I started going to the banks, trying to get a loan to try and like I just wanted to get like $100,000 loan, right? But because all my work was like under the table or was
Yeah,
selling pot, I had no credit, right?
yeah,
So I kept getting turned down by the banks and all this crap, right? So then my unfortunately my father passed away, and I got after that I got like a small little inheritance from it.
yeah.
So I decided, I was like, my house has been torn up for like 20 years. I've been working on it. It's getting close. I'm like, I'm just gonna take that money and I'm gonna finish renovating my house.
Yeah.
So I took the money. and started renovating my house. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna pull the trigger and do it. So I called up a friend who's a realtor, and she she started finding places for like to look at to rent. So I'm renovating my house. And while I'm renovating my house, I decided to also go get a job. The job was sorry, I'm bouncing all over the place here. I got the job before my dad passed away, actually. And I was trying to use the job to get some credit
Yeah.
so I could get a loan. It didn't end up working, but with this job, it was a demolition job. And I was able to keep a lot of the things that I was pulling out of these houses. Like a lot of people were getting really nice stuff ripped out of the house and upgraded, right? So I'd take it, I'd refurbish it a little bit, and then I'd incorporate it into my house. And by the end of it, man, I managed to probably save myself 50, 60 grand on materials doing this, just refer, and the house looked gorgeous when I was done. Like I was super happy with it.
Yeah.
So we got the house done, and when I say done, I actually do. There were still like little things that could have been done. Just one night, me and my son were like, we're done," and we called the realtor and we're like, "Put the house on the market." So she put the house on the market, and the house sold for, I think it was 40,000 over ask in less than 3 hours. We had
Wow.
something like eight. We had something like 18 full price offers, or like way over offers. I had one that was even a better offer, but that one had conditions on it. So I took the little bit less with no conditions.
Yeah.
So there's like no inspection, nothing, just sign it and go. So yeah. I profited off the house. Like just around 200 grand.
Wow.
And I took that money and I sunk every dime of it into the gym.
Nice.
Uh, I did the majority of the renovations myself. One of my closest buddies, he actually, oh man, did he ever step up. So he's also a home renovator. And for like the last, I'd say 4 weeks, push on finishing renovating the house, he showed up every day like it was a full-time job. Like I gave him some cash here and there, but like he was willing to do it for free, and he like helped me finish the house. And then when when we ended up getting the bay for the gym, he came and he helped a ton on that as well too. So like I couldn't have done it without him. But
Wow.
other than him, I pretty much built. Oh, and I had one other guy do a little bit of framing. He framed up the bathrooms and stuff and the change rooms, which was super helpful. But other than that, I did pretty much everything myself. My son helped a lot too with painting and all sorts of stuff. But man, I lived here at the gym for because I sold my house, so I bought it. Decided to buy a little camper trailer,
Yeah.
and I parked it inside the gym because the gym's got like three garage doors. Like, cause it's an old like auto body shop.
Okay.
So I parked a camper trailer in the gym, and I slept in that. And I had no running water, no toilet, nothing. Like the camper had a toilet, but um, so what I did was like for the first week, there was an office that was upstairs
Yeah.
here, so I turned that into a bedroom, and then I moved from the camper into the bedroom, and I lived in there while I was renovating building the gym. And I was working like 20-hour days. I had no toilet, no running water for like 2 months. And so I'd have to go to the McDonald's, and like, I'd be there like 4 in the morning, and then there's all the homeless people are sitting in there doing the same thing. I'm like hanging out with them. Oh, like it'll be worth it, man. It'll be
It'll be
worth
worth it.
it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was funny. Then eventually, like, I got the first toilet hooked up. Oh man, was that ever like a nice day to have a toilet?
Funny how we take those things for granted.
Yeah, yeah. And then like the progression as it got further and like got more and more done, and like then finally I got a shower in. But the shower for the first couple days only had cold water. I
Yeah.
hadn't run the hot water lines yet. So I'm like taking like ice cold showers every day. And finally then it upgraded, and then once the gym part was done and I got passed, like everything passed, I was secretly living in the room upstairs, right? And then once the permit got passed and everything, then I built like a full on 2 room apartment upstairs above the gym, and we lived here for like 7 months. And then, and then one day I got a email from the building management. They're like, "Yeah, if we find out you've been living there, you're going to be evicted very quickly." So we moved out like we got on went on Facebook Marketplace that night, and I found 3 places. Like this was at midnight. I found this out, right? I didn't check my email earlier.
Yeah.
And then I go from the Facebook Marketplace and I like find all these places, and these 2 places answered, and that I could move in that day. So one was in I don't remember, somewhere by the South Hospitals, and didn't have a fence or anything, and I got 2 dogs, right? So,
Yeah.
and then the other one was in Mackenzie Lake. So, and it was cheaper. It was closer to the gym, and it had a little bit of a fence in here, but it was too small for us. But we took it anyways and moved in there. But yeah, it was a little rough for a few months here before it opened, anyways. But it was
So
cool. It was cool living here though for the first little while. But then as the gym got busier and busier and busier, it got harder to live here because like there's always somebody in your space, right?
yeah,
Even though I'm technically upstairs in a way, it's still like you can like it's an open concept, so you can look. I can look down over the mats and whatnot. So as long as there's people here, I was never like, I was
yeah,
never.
yeah. It's
So
not the
it,
same. Not the same as being at home.
yeah, it's funny actually. The day before I got that email, me and Trey and I were like, "Yeah, man, I don't think we can live here much longer. We got to start looking for a place." And then like the next day, oh no, we're looking for a
Yeah.
place
Oh yeah,
right
we gotta
now.
go. We gotta go.
Yeah, so I wasn't sure if they meant they were going to evict me out of here from living here, or they're going to kick me out altogether. But I wasn't taking that chance, and I got out right now, right then
Yeah.
and there. So,
So
but
so Tim Blanchard runs and owns. He's like the proprietor of Alavanca,
yeah,
and I remember meeting him. The It was the fight that I cornered and helped train and coach you up for the fight that you won
in
against
Edmonton.
that fucking juice monkey guy.
Yeah,
And
no. That was. Oh, you met Tim before that?
did I meet Tim before that?
Okay.
He was on a
Yeah,
different
you
fight
met.
card.
Remember when I fought in that hotel in Edmonton, and
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
you and my buddy Darcy, actually Darcy, the guy who I just was talking about helping me renovate
Oh,
everything,
okay.
he was super drunk and it was you and him in the corner, and Darcy just kept yelling, "Punch him in the
Yes,
face!"
yes, yes. That was him.
So
Yeah.
that we met Tim on that. That was actually the fight card I met Tim was
Oh,
on that
okay.
one. So
Yeah,
that
because
was like
because
MFC Unplugged 3 or something like
yeah,
that.
I remember Tim's kicks. His leg kicks were so nasty. Because I said to him after, because he won that fight, and I think I said to him after when we were kind of in like the green room or the fighters area or whatever, and I was just like, dude, your kicks are freaking mean. I love it. And he was just like, yeah, I love kicking legs.
Yeah, I remember he used to just stand there and he'd stand and trade even though he was a ground guy.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And then yeah, that's kind of like that's how you got to know Tim, and then Tim opened Alavanca, what is it, just off of Deerfoot or something?
yeah. Well, actually, originally it was called MMA University,
Okay,
and
that's
the
right.
first place,
Yeah.
yeah, the first place they so he originally opened it in this place called Platoon FX.
Yeah.
Um, it was like a boot camp type
Yeah,
place,
I've been
and
there.
yeah, so that's where they originally were, and then from there they moved over just off Deerfoot, kind of like it. You can't get there from Beddington Trail, but like if Beddington Trail crossed Deerfoot and went straight up the hill, it was like right there.
Yeah.
That was a huge gym too. It was massive. They had a massive cage, full weight sets, all that stuff. It was a lot of mat space, but I'm not actually sure why they had to leave there, but they ended up moving out of there. And when they moved from there to open up the one they got now, that's when they switched to Alavanca.
Okay. Okay.
That's
Yeah,
when the
'cause
name changed
I
switched. So
remember MMA University, and then yeah, and then Tim. switched to Alavanca, and then when did you start coaching with Alavanca?
Well, actually, so I didn't start coaching with Alavanca until 2022.
Okay, so
I joined Alavanca at the end of 2017. I was before that I was over at Champions Creed. I was there from Champions Creed from probably 2010 until 2017,
oh, okay,
and then it's funny. I ended up the way I switched over. The reason I switched over, or the like the way it happened was kind of funny. Um, I had matched with this girl on Tinder, and who happened to be a pro fighter. And actually, I was kind of excited when I matched with her because I kind of already had I knew her, like
yeah,
who she was, and had a crush on her. Right? So we matched with her, and then we went out on a date. And then after the date, she's like, "Well, let's go and meet up at MMA University. They have an open mat on Saturdays." So we ended up going and meeting her, or going to the MMA University open mat, and then that was kind of how I started going there more. I had gone there a few times before because I had a friend that was fighting there, and I go and help him a little bit, but this was like where I actually like made the transition over there.
okay.
So this day I go there, I show up and I'm there, and like I get there a bit early, right? And I show up there and there's just me and one other guy, and the other guy is his name's Jesse Arnett. He was like one of the best fighters in Canada for years.
I recognize his name for some reason, but
He was like the Hard Knocks bantamweight and featherweight champs like for quite a long time. You if you were in MMA in Calgary, like around like 2014 to on, he was a pretty big name.
okay,
Anyway, so I'm there, and he like reluctantly asked me if I'd warm up with him because he didn't know who I was, and he's kind of cautious on who he would train with at the time because he was trying to get in the UFC and all that kind of stuff, right? So we started warming up, and after the warm up, he just ended up like, I guess he liked rolling with me or whatever, and asked if I'd be one of his main training partners. So for like, I don't know, it was like months. I'd show up there, like, because again, I was selling pot and didn't have to work and all this stuff. So um, he'd have like private practices every single day, like Monday to Friday kind of thing, and sometimes on the weekends too, right? So, and all we do is just spar.
yeah.
So I go there and dude, we'd spar 10 rounds a day, every day for months. We'd maybe take Sundays off. Like there was the odd day, or like we had to take off because but like pretty consistently, it was 6 days a week, 10 rounds a day kind of thing. It was way too much training. Dude, I was eating Little Caesars pizzas, two of them every day, and I looked absolutely the most shredded I've ever looked in my life at that time. Like, but anyways, so I kept helping Jesse get ready for his fights, and then one day he comes in and he's just like, "Hey, I got you a fight." I'm like, and I hadn't fought in 10 years at this point in time.
Yeah.
My last fight was in 2007. This is 2017, and he's like, "I got you a fight." I'm like, "What do you mean you got me a fight? I'm not fighting. I don't do that anymore. I'm just helping you guys." He's like, "No, you put all this work in. You're gonna fight this guy." I'm like, "All right, here we go again." So halfway through that training camp, I was still kind of training over at Champions Creed, but I wasn't getting the attention over there that I was getting over at MMA. Like they were like begging for me to come in and train with them every day, and I didn't pay anything and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And they gave me like a lot of attention, right? It felt good. It felt good to go there. It was like a nice environment. I was Champions Creed was, I don't know, the environment didn't work for me there. I was like days I'd show up, if I knew I couldn't be on the mat right before warm up started, I would just turn around and drive home kind of thing. It was just wasn't the environment for me, right?
Yeah.
So halfway through the training camp, and I just also got my blue belt from champ, so I kind of felt a little bad about that. But I like it was maybe a month after I got my blue belt, I ended up saying, you know what, I'm just gonna try and train at MMAU. So I sent Champions Street a email saying thank you for my time here, but I'm done. So I switched over there, and then yeah, I haven't. I've just grown as a person. Being part of the organization is pretty awesome.
Yeah. So then you kind of trained with MMA University, and then they transitioned over to Alavanca, and you just
Right.
kind of stayed with them throughout the
Yeah.
process, kind of
Yeah.
thing, and then stayed
Yeah.
to a point of growth, and then you eventually moved into the South to open the location that you're at now, and
Yeah.
now it's like going bananas.
Yeah. It's going pretty good, man. Yeah, we're just in the second year. I've got like around 200 members already. Man, we're
Wow.
going to, we've gone to a lot of competitions where like we've won most valuable grappler of the whole competition. We've won first place, like best academy a couple times. We always get at least second or third best academy in every competition we go to. So
Wow.
yeah, our kids, especially our kid program, our kids are always kicking butt. So
So
yeah,
this is
and
something
then
that I've just kind of come across in terms of like general, just the general feel and vibe that I just hear from other coaches and other people who train is that like how important is it for you as a coach training and teaching all these kids to become killers, but then to become disciplined and good natured about it. Like how important is that to you as a coach to
oh,
impart
dude,
all
that's massive. Like I, I'm really focused on that a lot actually, and like there's a lot of this. Like the kids all have fun, but they all stay in line pretty good. I did have to. I had one kid that there's these two brothers that came in and they were just trouble, like nonstop trouble, and like they got to the point where it was super disruptive to everybody else, right? So I kind of looked at the situation, and the younger brother, I looked at him, and I feel bad for saying this, but I felt like he was a little bit of a lost cause right now, anyways, right? Not to say he couldn't figure it out later on, but
yeah.
but the older brother, I felt like if he got away from the younger brother, he might have some hope, right? So I talked to the parents, and I said, don't bring the younger boy anymore. He can't. He's not ready for this. So they're like, all right. So then they kept bringing the older boy, and sure enough, like over time, he started becoming way more respectful as a person. He'd say, please and thank you for things. Like he still had a little bit of an attitude problem, but he wouldn't. Then all of a sudden, he stopped picking on other kids, and then he'd start like focusing on his actual jujitsu and like trying to learn things, and he'd like set goals, and all of a sudden he started asking, "Hey, can I help with something?" And like the kid did like he still got some work to go, but man, what a difference. He's turning into like a good young man. And like every time I promote, like I've already promoted him up to a solid gray belt, which is the third kid's belt.
Yeah.
And that was the main thing. It's just like you're turning into a really respectful, good young man, and I'm proud of you. And I hope that'll stick with him, and he'll continue it on. Every once in a while, he wants to quit and whatnot, but I kind of talk him out of it, and then he stays and seems to have a good time. So yeah, but it's super important for me to have the kids to be good, respectful people outside of the gym. Like, like I've heard a couple kids come in here and they talk to their moms and not the nicest way, and I pull the kid aside. I'm like, hey man, don't talk to your mom like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they seem to respond to it pretty well.
It's
And
there's something to be said about like, if dad says that, it doesn't carry the same weight. Well, because it's just dad, whatever. But if
yeah,
you hear it from your coach, you hear it from your teacher, you hear it from somebody else that's a third party, no opinion, but has some measure of impact to that kid. That's huge. And kids
Yeah,
listen. Funny
absolutely.
enough, kids listen more.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, dude, man, like the things that these kids do is unreal. You know, I'll like we had a competition here a couple months ago, and so with competitions, like you don't like there's no like warm up for it or anything. Like you kind of got to get yourself ready for it, right? And I think I had like 10 kids competing on it. And I looked over and one of the kids got them all up and he was like running his own little like warm up, like doing all the things I make them do. It was pretty cool to see. And like, so, you know, they're turning into little leaders and killers, man. It's like, I got this one kid, Sid. Oh man. He, yeah, he just finished I think 2 weeks ago he did a competition and he finished a kid with a no arm triangle. It's illegal, but it was super cool, man. It was super cool. Yeah,
That
it was
that that
super
must
cool to
be
see.
that must be a pretty pride-filled moment when, you know, you've got all these different things you're teaching these kids, all these different skills and
Yeah,
tools that they can use for counters and for application. And
yeah,
then you see something that you normally don't train, and he pulls it out of the freaking back pocket, drops it, and that must be a pretty cool moment for you.
yeah. Well, and it's kind of funny too because the move is the move that got me my nickname.
The
So
fog,
no, they call it the dirty.
the dirty. Oh, okay, dirty.
Now people there's a whole bunch of different names for it, but I actually I caught the submission on I was a white belt and I caught the submission on a black belt,
Oh, okay.
but I didn't know what it did at the time. But I kind of figured it out, and then I started reverse engineering. This was back in 2017, and I ended up started catching people with this no arm triangle, where like instead of their arm in there, my arm's in, holding on my own shin, and uh, and I was catching people left, right, center, and then one of my buddies like was showing it to him. He's like, "Oh, that's dirty," and then that's kind of then they started calling the choke the dirty, and then I was catching people with it all the time, and they just started calling me dirty. So so that's where the nickname came from. But it was kind of cool to see this kid, even though like win his fight with that move, even though it was illegal. But
So,
it's still cool.
so did they disqualify
No,
him or?
no, it's funny because the other kid's coach was like yelling, "He's like, that's illegal, that's illegal," and then he just kind of stopped. He's like, "But it was pretty cool." Yeah. So no, it stood. They let it stand.
That's
So
awesome. I wonder if we're
yeah,
gonna
but yeah,
revise that for later and be like, don't let anybody do the dirty no more.
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, a sub is a sub. A choke is a choke.
That's what I say. I don't understand why it's illegal, but whatever.
Es-
There's some weird rules
Especially
in the
especially a
kids
creative
division.
one like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was pretty cool, man. He did it from the top. He started in mount from mount, and he rolled over. Like he set it up in mount, and then rolled to his back and finished it there. It was like it was well thought out. It was a cool entrance. So.
Nice, nice. Actually, there was a UFC card today in Qatar, and
Oh, okay.
the was it it was Islam Turkey. I can't remember how to say his last name. Um, and he was fighting oh bloody hell, Dan Hooker,
Oh,
and
right.
and then Islam caught him on a arm triangle
It
from
was
the
an arm
top.
triangle.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. So that was and that was clean. And I would like
yeah.
he had him on top mount or full mount and picking away, and then or no, he was in half guard. Um, and then yeah, he caught him. He just slipped his arms through, caught him in an arm triangle, sneaked out. It was nice. It was a nice one.
Yeah, yeah, I saw the highlight of that. I actually don't really watch much UFC for some reason, but I did see the highlight of that one.
Um, do you know who David Lee is?
David Lee. Like,
He
is he from Alberta?
he's from he's from Kelowna. He runs Toshido MMA,
I think I do know who he's an Asian guy, right?
No, no,
No.
he's a white guy. Um, he
Oh, maybe I don't know.
so he's actually he's got kind of a cool story. He cornered Rory McDonald um with that huge fight with Robbie Lawler.
Oh, sweet.
He said that was one of the tougher fights to watch because he's watching one of his kids literally getting the shit beaten out of him the whole time. Legendary fight to
Yeah.
him. Like that fight's
Oh,
legendary. But
oh yeah.
David Lee, he said that when they were um, deciding on, you remember the UFC game, the very first UFC fighter video game? Yeah, like I
Yeah,
never,
I never played it,
me
but I
neither.
actually never played any of those games.
But when you start the game, you can go through their menu and choose and create your own fighter.
Okay.
And you can choose different skins and layouts, like whatever, different short colors, but one of the things you can choose is where you're from. Now the most common is going to be like America, Brazil, and all these other well-known fighting countries. There was only
Yeah.
one place to choose for Canada, and it was Kelowna, and it was because of David Lee and Toshida MMA. So that's kind
Oh,
of cool.
cool.
Yeah,
That is kind of cool.
and he's been coaching and training guys for decades. He's been around for
Yeah.
a long time. But yeah, I thought that I actually had a chance to meet him, and eventually I'd like to be able to get him on the podcast too because he's kind of got a cool story. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's kind of wild when you see your kids grow into these little lanky, goofy, floppy fish, and now they're
Yeah.
just like freaking killers.
Oh yeah. The next generation is gonna be scary, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you were fighting compared to the kids that are coming up now and fighting is so
Yeah.
different.
Well, because it keeps like especially jujitsu itself, it's still evolving. It's constantly evolving.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that all the other like striking's evolving and everything's being blended together. So like yeah, the next group of people are going to be pretty scary. They're already getting pretty scary. Like I don't know, I wouldn't want to fight a lot of those guys nowadays.
No, you see guys like, remember the days when we used to watch stand-up strikers like Chuck Liddell and like those guys
Yeah,
and they were classified as legends back in the day, but then you fast forward to now and you've got like guys champs like Alex Pereira who he's still a kickboxer, but he's doing some scary stuff and
yeah,
it's pretty cool to watch the evolution of MMA and fighting. Um, just because, like you said, it's evolving constantly. There's always something new added. It's crazy.
yeah. Yeah. It's constant and like just like on our mats alone, we're finding new stuff out, like figuring new stuff out as we're going, right? So I imagine that's happening at every single gym around the
Yeah,
world, you know. So it's I don't feel like there's a ceiling, like it's can infinitely grow, man.
yeah. So you've been in this location and running this business for 2 years?
January 10th will be my 2 year anniversary.
Okay, okay. And then
Coming up on that, yeah.
so you're at 200 members, and they did now 200 members a month. Are they all showing up?
Dude, there's so many people here. I don't even know everybody. So, which is, I mean, I try to learn everybody's name. Man, I've learned so many people's names. The worst part is sometimes I'll I'm I'll be talking to someone like, I think your name's this, and then you'll like doubt yourself, and then you find out you're right anyways. But or you're calling somebody the wrong name for, oh, dude, I actually had one guy call me the wrong name for 8 months. I didn't have the heart to tell him that wasn't my name.
I'm sure he'd be okay. Like, I've been calling the gym owner like Chuck for like 2 months, and I've had it wrong the whole time.
Well, I did correct him a couple times, but after probably the third time, I just went with it. I was like, all right, that's my name to you.
Yeah, yeah.
All
It's
right.
it's just a name, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
But no, that
so then I guess what do you think the future holds over the next few years? Because I mean, you're growing this business, you're trying to develop. skills and all these people and these kids that you're working with, because it's a broad range and you've probably got a pretty wild schedule. And is the plan to just keep building and growing, or you're like,
Yeah, well, yeah. So right now, I'm just really trying to focus on building a good coaching staff, which is, I think I got a really solid group of guys right now. Um, yeah, I think that's the main thing is I've got, what do I've got? I've got, including myself, we've got three black belts here, teaching. We've got a couple brown belts teaching, a good purple belt teaching. So we got a good group of guys teaching jujitsu classes. We have classes 7 days a week. So we got a lot to offer. Our Muay Thai program here is awesome. Our Muay Thai coach is Johnson Garzon. He was one of the he's been inactive for about a year or so now, so I'm not sure if he's still in the rankings, but he was one of the top boxers and kickboxers in the country. I think he was actually ranked number one in both of those in his weight classes at one point in time. But
wow,
he's doing an amazing job with our fighters here on the stand-up side of things. He took one of our guys. He's been training, I think, 14 months, and he already won the national championships for
huh,
Muay Thai.
nice.
So yeah, we've got a bunch of guys, like having good MMA fights. We're winning kickboxing fights all the time, and we're winning lots of jiu-jitsu competitions.
Nice.
So it's pretty cool to watch. But yeah, I do want to expand. I'm hoping with so in the bay next to me, I'm hearing rumors that they're leaving in the next 2 years.
Yeah,
So if they leave, I'm hoping that I'll be at a point in maybe another 100 members or so, and then I'd be ready to I can move next door too and expand the gym.
yeah.
Um,
Put a ring in there or something.
maybe put a ring in there, or it's just like even now, like our kids, sometimes our kids classes are just too big, right? So offer more classes or something like that.
Yeah,
So well, who knows? But yeah, I would love to expand, get the spot a little bit bigger, and then keep building that up. And then I kind of want to get it running on its own.
yeah,
That's why I hired a gym manager, and hoping to eventually get her to be like full time.
yeah,
So I'd like to actually like be more of like almost like a member here, and just be able to come and train and stuff, and like have it run, and then go and do some other business ideas on the side or something.
yeah.
Chase something else while this is running itself, and then see how that goes.
Um, Damn, I had a question in my head and I just totally lost it. I hate it when your brain just goes too fast and then it just disappears on you.
Yeah,
Um,
I forget, and then I start rambling, and then I don't even know what I'm talking about after a while. I'm like, what are we
you've
talking about?
you've had some good rambles. These are good rambles.
All right. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't know. I jumped around a little bit there on the timeline, but
No, and that's okay.
sometimes
I mean,
my old age is hard to remember what order, what sequence things actually happened in. I remember the events, but like where they go in time is a different story.
I'd have to say it's pretty good recall for somebody who's taken some good knocks on the noggin. So
Oh yeah, I have taken a few good knocks on the noggin.
yeah, yeah. I've been witness to a couple of rough nights, and then I've also been witness to, like, I
Were
was
you there?
I was there for your
Were
first
you there when
win.
my face got broken?
Which one was that? The one in Edmonton. I was there for when Darcy was screaming, "Punch him in the face!"
Yeah,
And then
yeah. No, not that one. But no, like, were you living at the house when I my last fight back in the first go around when I got my face broken?
I can't. No, I wasn't there for that one.
Oh, oh, okay. That was a bad one, man.
Yeah,
I had an orbital.
yeah.
I had a tripod fracture. My cheekbone was sunk in, man. I got steel mesh in my eye, or like underneath my eye here, and like 6 screws and whatnot. That was a bad one. But
Yeah.
after that, I was like, I'm never fighting again. Like I had a hard time. Like they didn't even want to let me on the plane to come home.
Jeez.
yeah. So and then I met somebody in a hot tub, and he talked me out of quitting, and that's another crazy story, man. So none of this would have happened if this part of the story didn't happen too, right? So I was done. Like after I got my face broken in that back in 2007, I was done. But I'm sitting in the hot tub at Cardell Place,
Yeah.
and I'm sitting in there, and my face is still super swollen. I'm not even sure I had surgery at that point in time yet or not, so it might have been super fresh. And there's this other guy sitting in the hot tub, and he's got cauliflower ears, and it's really just I think there's like four people in the whole hot tub. So like I'm eyeballing him up, like looking at his ears. I can see him looking at my face, and then later I'm in the change room. He comes up behind me. He's just like, "Hey man, can I just ask what happened to your face?" And then I told him, and I'm like, "Yeah, it was stupid. I didn't know, wasn't prepared for that, and blah blah blah." And he's like, "Well, don't quit." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, I think I could help you out." I'm like, "All right." He's like, "Give me your number." So I gave my number, and then I didn't hear from him. Like I went on about my life, and about a month and a half, 2 months later, I get a phone call from this guy. He's like, "Hey man, so and so, do you remember me?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, hey, how's it going?" He's like, "Hey, are you able to get a week off work?" I'm like, "Well, yes, work's no issue for me to get off." So he's like, do you think you got anywhere you could stay in Winnipeg?" I'm like, "Well, actually, yeah, my cousin lives out in Winnipeg." So he's like, so by this time, my face had already started healing up and whatnot, and
Yeah.
I was like cleared to do some light training and stuff, right? And he's like talked me into this, and he's just like, "Okay, well, I'm going to send you to this school. I want you to go to Winnipeg for a week, and I'm going to send you to this school." So he sent me to this jujitsu school called WAMA out in Winnipeg. So I trained there for a week, and the whole purpose of him sending me there was so I could, because I'd never trained in a real gym. He wanted me to be exposed to what it was like to be an actual full-time fighter, like a real one, right?
Yeah.
So I went to this gym, trained the whole week like that, and then I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. So then that's how why I didn't end up quitting. So then I came back, joined BDB, which is ended up turning into Champions Creed, and then I've already told you the
Yeah.
transition from there.
Yeah.
But if it weren't for that guy sending me to Winnipeg, there I would have quit martial arts altogether, and I wouldn't be sitting there. I'd probably
Huh.
still be welding, to be honest, either welding or in jail.
Did
So
did you ever did you ever hear from this guy again? Did you ever see him again?
yeah, they're like it didn't come without strings. So, but that's a story I'm not interested in talking about.
You didn't have
Okay,
to
like
suck a
that
dick,
part.
did you?
No. There was nothing like that, man. There was some scary stuff, and so
Okay, fair
let's
enough.
we'll skip over that one.
Yeah, but
But I'm
nonetheless,
very grateful for that. But if it weren't for that part of it,
yeah.
uh, this would not have happened.
Wow. It's funny how those moments just kind of come across our lives, and
Yeah,
then it's that fork in the road. It's just like, okay, there's this weird guy in the hot tub,
yeah.
and he just says, "Give me his number." And then there's this other path, and I don't really want to do this, but this is weird. I'm gonna fucking go for it. I can do it.
That dude, that's it. Like it just like I kind of threw caution to the wind with a lot of things, and sometimes it's screwed me over,
Yeah,
and sometimes it's paid off. Like with opening the gym, man. I just said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna do this," and I threw all caution to the wind, and I went in 110%.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
there was no failing. Failing was not an option. Like if I failed, that was it. I was done.
yeah.
So
But you got to see
so yeah,
structure. Like this whole time, you've been just like this wildly trained um, Bronco fighter, and then you had a couple of rough fights, a couple of good fights, and you learned a lot. But then you get roughed up real good, but then you finally get that taste of structure and direction. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's almost
Yeah.
like you had a little bit of mentorship there.
Oh, for sure, man. For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
crazy.
yeah, there was also like there was a period of time where I had a really dark relationship. It was a bad one. And when I got out of it, I knew something had to change in my life.
Yeah,
So I started like it's gonna sound like cheesy, but like while I was renovating my house, I'd constantly have like Tony Robbins things talking in the background, or like but just guys like that, Joe Rogan saying stuff, and I was just listening to things that they were always saying, and then I let it sink in, and I started trying the things that they were saying to do, and sure enough, all of it worked, man. And like it changed me as a person, and
yeah,
I feel good. Like I'm pretty relaxed as a person. I don't worry about anything very very often, and I realized like to if you want something, you just gotta just
just do it.
okay, like just decide it and do it,
Yeah,
and like don't worry about if it doesn't work. If you worry about if it's not gonna work, it's probably not gonna work. So just forget about that part and just dive in. I mean, can't be delusional too. You gotta have a good idea of whatever you want to do, right?
yeah,
But once you got a solid idea and you're ready to like, I mean, are you ever ready to make the leap? You just gotta just decide one day, just like this is it. I'm gonna do it.
yeah,
Because I mean, the path worked out for me the way it went, but like, I could have done it a way faster if I learned my lessons quicker, right?
yeah. That's it's
But
that's the funny thing about like proper mentorship and guidance, because you're learning from other people that have fucked up a ton as well, and now they're
yeah,
teaching you the system that works, and then you're just jumping in head first because you think it's a risk and you're like, fuck it, I'm just going to do it. But then you fall
yeah,
into that you literally get on the right train and boom.
yeah, 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 yeah. I definitely got on that right train finally, and it feels pretty good to be on it, man.
And now you're fucking laughing. You've got a great successful gym. You've got growth, and you've got like a pretty cool future that not everybody can say that they have. And I don't know, that's got to be pretty fucking feeling good.
Yeah, and like the cool thing is, dude, is I created it. I pretty much created it by myself.
Yeah.
You know, like I didn't wait for somebody to do it for me. I created this out of nothing, right? And that feels pretty good, you
Yeah.
know. I just made sure I surrounded myself with the right people. That was a huge thing, man. That was one of the biggest things in life was cutting out the wrong people in your life.
Funny how that
You
works.
know, like they don't have to do anything bad to you, or if they're just if they don't if certain people in your life don't like add to your life, or if they take away from it in and they gotta go, man. And once I started cutting people out and then surrounding myself with people, kind of doing things I wanted to do or whatnot, like things just started happening. So your environment's super important too. You gotta cut out people, toxic people fast,
Yeah.
fast, and then once they're cut, man, you got to draw that line, like don't talk to them again,
Yeah.
because if you let them back in, they're just gonna keep sucking you down, right? So your circle is important. It should be fairly small and very selective.
Yeah. Yeah. I 100% agree. I mean, what do they say is you are the sum of the five people that you hang out with the most.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And like, yeah, maybe that was one of the beauties of me moving from the north to the south, as I got away from all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like for the last 2 years I lived in the north, like people are always trying to like suck me back into the old crap, right? And I just like it was hard to resist, but now that I'm not in the environment anymore, yeah, you don't even think about it anymore.
Yeah.
So you surround yourself with the right kind of people, and it definitely makes a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah. And then somewhere along the way, you just got to drink that Kool-Aid and just do it.
Just do it, man, and don't worry about when I like, dude, man. When I did this, everybody said I was nuts.
Yeah.
Everybody said I was nuts, and then a couple people. Actually, the coolest one was my son's grandpa on like
His mom's
on his
side.
mom's side.
Yeah.
Came to my grand opening. Now I like my son's 25, and I split with his mom like when he was 5, so 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And this man showed up to my grand opening, and he's just like, when I heard you were doing this, and he's a pretty successful, like an extremely successful businessman himself. And he comes and he's like, "Oh man, I when I first heard you were doing this, I thought it was crazy, but now that I see what you did, I'm pretty impressed, like super proud of you." So that was cool to hear,
That's
from
kind of
especially
cool.
from
That big compliment. That's a big compliment.
yeah, especially from who it came from, like from my my ex from 20 years ago. Her dad's been keeping an eye on me the whole time,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So and it felt pretty cool to hear him say that.
Yeah. That's pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do wish my dad got to see this,
I think
but
he did, just not in the way that you think he did.
maybe
Yeah, because it's funny that um so my grandpa passed away what back in like 2008. It was like a
yeah.
month before I got married. And
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
yeah, I try to forget about it now. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's why divorces are so expensive because they're worth it.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
But I remember he passed away, and like I had been away from my family on that side for a really long time. For the most part, I really don't have a great connection with a lot of the family on my mom's side.
Yeah,
But I remember I've had a lot of great fond memories with my grandpa. And I remember he came to me a year later in my dream, a year after he had passed. And I remember it vividly. I don't remember the circumstance, but I just remember a sense of pride that he had towards me. And I don't know why,
yeah,
because at the time I just gotten married, working, and I can't even remember what job I was doing at the time. But he just had this sense of pride, and that was it.
right.
And and we don't always get those messages, and we don't always get those feelings, but we know that somewhere something like that is there. And I'm absolutely certain that your dad has this great sense of pride towards you because you've built and created something not just for yourself, but also for Trey, because Trey's watching too. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's actually one of the coolest things. Trey's told me so many times how proud he is.
That's
That's
awesome.
pretty awesome. And dude, it was super cool. Like my whole life, I've never had a will before. I was like, what's the point? I had never had anything, right? Just the crappy old house.
Yeah.
I finally today I wrote my first will out, and it was cool to like leave the business to Trey and all that stuff. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I hope I don't die anytime soon, but it was it's cool. It's a cool feeling to need one now, you know.
But then
So
also to have that sense of being able to impart something on him or to him.
yeah, yeah.
So,
But the most important thing was though that he got to see me pull myself from a really dark place and climb and claw my way out and get to a pretty cool place.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's,
that's definitely my favorite part of all of this
yeah.
is that he got to watch that.
I would say that that is probably one hell of an achievement that most people take for granted. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. Well, raising my son, I think that's the thing I'm the most proud of. Though, like, he turned out like I mean, he saw some shit he shouldn't have seen, but Luckily, he took those lessons, and like he still to this day talks about certain things. He's like, Dad, I don't really drink. I don't really drink because this person lived with us
Yeah.
for a while,
Yeah.
and like, Dad, I don't do drugs because this person did this. Like, dude, we had living with us. We had to kick him out. Obviously, we kicked him out right away. But like two crack guys we caught smoking crack, had to kick those guys out quick. Like alcoholics, you name it, and somehow we both got out of there, and he turned out to be a really really good man. Doesn't party, doesn't do any of that. All he does is go, builds his own business,
Yeah.
and goes to the gym I mean, he's right now he's a little bit lazy. He's not going lately, but yeah, I couldn't be prouder. Like he's really built up a cool thing of his own at the same time, and
Yeah.
as I'm doing mine. So it's a good day in our household.
That's good. That's good. Well, let's end on a good note because
Yeah,
we've talked about fuck. You talked about like we've talked about resilience. We've talked about kind of the awkward and kind of disjointed levels of discipline you've had over your life. You've talked about hardship. You've talked about grit and hard work and self-made and entrepreneurship and business owning. Like there's a lot. This is why I've been talking to a lot of my friends and trying to share their stories because, like I said, you don't realize how cool of a story you have until you say it out loud, but then you hear it back from somebody else. And some of the shit that you've gone through is crazy, is cool, but the lessons that you have learned and have been able to impart on some of these kids and teach them and at the same time tell me that same story and hopefully influence some people out there about how powerful you can be if you want to change your story.
100%, man.
Like fuck.
100%. You are in control of your own life, man. Like as soon as you get rid of any kind of victim mindset and just start building yourself up, you can do anything, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. So what I do
Yeah.
is I ask everybody one final question because we've talked a lot about every different aspect of life and kind of all these changes that as a young man growing up goes through. So the question is, in your opinion, why do men matter?
Oh man. Well, I mean, we need men to like for the masculinity of the world. Like it's balance. We need both men and women. They have the rightful place. Like women can do things that men can't do. Men can do things that women like. There's a reason they're both here, and I think for men specifically is to like raise leaders and raise their sons and their daughters, but like raise people up to be better than them and whatnot, and without the father in the home, then that doesn't always happen, right? So men need to be part of their children's lives, and let's do this part we got to edit out.
No, it's going good. No, you've got the right. There's no
No,
wrong
I know,
answer.
but
There's no wrong
no,
answer.
I know. But like, oh man, like, how do you put that into like? We need men for like protection, for nurturing, for building, for teaching. Like just passing on the lessons to grow and to guide. We need real men to guide the young men today, because right now everyone's like there's not enough masculinity, and there's so much victimhood, right?
Yeah,
And we need more men to start just teaching these younger men that nobody's going to save them. They got to save themselves, and as soon as they figure that out, then life gets a lot easier. So yeah, we need men, like real men, to teach the young men to to be tough and strong, but still like still like good hearted and gentle where they need to be gentle. Like, there's, yeah, you know, that's it, man.
It's a good answer. Honestly, like I said, there's no wrong answer. It's a
Yeah, it's not the easiest and it's not the easiest question
no,
to articulate. So
no, and I intended it that way because for one, everybody's gonna have a different answer based on the life that they've led. But
yeah,
but two, it evokes a bigger question within ourselves. And
yeah,
and that's what's something that I struggle. That's part of the reason why I started the podcast is because I struggled with that question. Like, kind of feeling completely broken and broke and like
yeah,
after divorce and it wiping me out and then I started asking myself like what am I doing, and then also all the stories I hear of the masculine, the toxic masculinity and all this other
yeah,
BS, and I started to realize, okay, well, no, it is BS. It's a war against the cornerstone of what has built our society, but
yeah,
simultaneously it's an ideology that needs a counter. And
yeah,
there's a lot of voices out there, and I wanted to be a part of it because I have things to say, but I know people that have fantastic stories like
yeah,
yourself, and I want to talk to people about these cool stories.
yeah. No, it's definitely important, especially like in today's age, right? They say, what is it? Hard times create strong men.
Yeah.
Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. Well, right now we're in the time of weak men,
Yes.
like incredibly weak men,
Yeah.
and so hopefully the strong men that are left can kind of guide the next generation and develop grow the next set of strong men, because we need some strong men here, especially with what's going on here.
Yeah, we're going through the weak times created by, or we're going through the hard times created by weak men, which creates
Yeah,
which creates
yeah,
strong men. So we're kind
yeah.
of in that transition right now, and I'm just
Perfect.
really proud and happy to know that you're a part of that creating strong men because
Thanks.
fuck,
I
we need it.
appreciate that.
No, I want you to bring Alavanca to Kelowna.
All right, all right. Well, maybe like it's possible. It's
Yeah,
possible.
yeah, I would
So,
join.
all right, all right. We got one member, so
Yeah,
there we go.
first Kelowna member signing up right now.
There we go. Perfect. I like it.
Okay,
I like it.
so yeah, what I'll do is we'll stop and then we'll debrief
Okay,
and then all that.
sure.
So I just wanted to say I'm thankful that you were able to come on. I know you're a busy guy, so thank you
Oh,
for
dude,
making the time.
I
So,
was excited. I was excited about this. So thanks for inviting me, man.
so
This is
first,
cool.
we broke your cherries. First podcast you've ever
You
been on.
did. Woo.
Yeah,
Yeah, thanks, man. That was awesome.
thank you.